In the future, how to prove that humanity once existed on Earth. Hello everyone, welcome to the 200 years of human sci-fi, and today's story comes from Lu Wanyang's acclaimed hard science fiction work, White Chains, The Last Legacy. Before the emergence of humans, no living being had ever thought of an effective way to prove its own existence. This contemplation arose from my childhood visit to dinosaur fossils. The massive dinosaur skeletons, with their awe-inspiring grandeur, set my mind wandering 100 million years back in time. 100 million years ago, the dinosaur species was at the peak of its prosperity, breeding without a care in the world. Who could have foreseen that a small asteroid, or the gradual deterioration of the ecology, would cause their sudden extinction? Yet, perhaps an elderly dinosaur, during the magnificent and melancholic sunset of the Cretaceous period, pondered alone. All of this, and even the vastness of time itself, would vanish like a fleeting sunset. What could prove to posterity the former glory of the dinosaur race? In that lingering twilight, the aged dinosaur must have contemplated these questions. It might have drawn some wild curves on the ground or moved a pile of stones. That was the extent to which the dinosaur's neural center could conceive. Unfortunately, all traces would eventually dissipate with the passage of time. The excessively wide temporal gap made it impossible for humans to understand the culture of the dinosaurs. As a result, the last evidence of the dinosaurs' existence was their own bones. We remain ignorant of their vocalizations, skin colors, whether they were endotherms or ectotherms, if they lived in groups or solitary, and the extent of their intelligence. I cannot help but ponder wistfully, countless millennia from now, what kind of beings will govern this world? From their perspective, did humans ever exist? Suppose, for some reason, humans abandoned their homeland, and the blue planet lost its water and atmosphere, becoming a lifeless wasteland. A spacecraft from the crystal race arrives on Earth to conduct planetary archaeology. In their records and research reports, would humans be acknowledged as the former masters of Earth? The crystal race are silicon-based life forms, and the carbon-based life forms on Earth would come as a great surprise to them. As the crystal race operates machines to excavate the desolate and ancient Earth, they would initially search for traces of silicon-based life similar to themselves. They would soon discover that the physical and chemical properties of this planet's surface indicate the former presence of abundant liquid water and an atmosphere. The silicon content on the surface is high, but they are all simple oxides, far too simple in complexity to form life. By this time, the signature human structures would have vanished. The crystal race would ponder, what kind of beings once ruled this planet? Until they unearthed from the layers a massive amount of peculiarly shaped objects composed of calcium carbonate deposits. These white chains permeate the entire planet. The strange elemental composition and unique material structure would unveil the secrets of this planet. Radioisotope dating would reveal an astoundingly ancient history, leaving the crystal race in disbelief and awe. The great discovery of the silicon-based world, the traces of carbon-based life, would be confirmed. However, for the crystal race, classifying the Earth species would prove too difficult. They might be able to broadly distinguish arthropods, mollusks, or vertebrates, but for a group of aliens to reconstruct Earth's biological chain, even if they could reconstruct it, what kind of picture would it be? Laid before the crystal race are parrots, beetles, spiders, crabs, dolphins, turtles, and human vertebrates. The crystal race's intelligence would allow them to broadly categorize them. Beetles and crabs, despite belonging to different tribes, share many similarities and lack internal cavities to house large neural centers, so they would be grouped together. The beautiful parrot shell would undoubtedly captivate the crystal race, embodying a universal essence of beauty, simplicity, balance, and harmony. In their eyes, the parrot shell's internal partitions embodied mathematical beauty, symbolizing the infinite progression of time and space. This meant that this species possessed wondrous qualities. Its body might not have a fixed form and could perhaps even shed its own skeleton. Fish and turtles have completely different outward appearances, but after analysis, the crystal race would discover their essential similarities and classify them within the same major category, vertebrates. Initially, the crystal race would almost exclude humans from vertebrates, as the early human fossil discoveries were limited to skulls. The crystal race would rack their brains pondering this hollow gray-white sphere. At the site where this skull fossil was excavated, they also discovered a marble slab engraved with inscriptions. Later, they unearthed a torso and limb bones that matched the skull. However, the crystal race believed that the symbols on the marble slab were likely created by an intelligent being, and they wondered if this slender, round-headed creature was the ruler of this planet. But they quickly dismissed this notion, for as far as the crystal race knew, intelligent beings on many planets had the habit of creating toys for their pets. Perhaps the marble slab engraved for humans was merely a toy made by their master. In the crystal race's own evolutionary chain, animals were divided into two major kinds, those with limbs and those without limbs. The crystal race itself was the ultimate product of evolution, so they would likely use this standard to evaluate the carbon-based animals on Earth. The parrot shell did not require any superfluous, crude, and figurative limbs to sustain itself, but rather controlled machines through electromagnetic waves emitted by its intelligent core. In this way, the crystal race established a rough classification of Earth's animals. With this framework, the myriad of white calcium-deposited bones could be identified and collected one by one. In the crystal race's catalog of Earth's biology, mollusks occupied the highest position. The sea hare, being a mollusk, held a high status. The sea snail's outward structure resembled the parrot shell, so the crystal race placed it second only to the parrot shell. They used electromagnetic waves to control machines and scan the sea snail, even hearing the wondrous sound of air vibrating within the shell. This made them marvel that such a peculiar species could, even after death, still communicate with them through a voice imbued with intelligence. Between fish and mollusks, no intermediate evolutionary link was found, but the crystal race determined that fish were the highest life forms apart from mollusks, as their limbs were the most degenerated, so they were grouped together. Based on this sorting criteria, as these species occupied higher positions, reptiles were naturally ranked as lower-level crawlers, followed by birds. In the human biological taxonomy, the higher the ranking of an animal, the lower its position in the crystal race's theory. Birds had massive wings and hollow bones, indicating they flew in the atmosphere. They did not fly using the simple Archimedes principle of buoyancy, but rather more complex aerodynamics, allowing them to fly faster and more stably. But the crystal race could also fly using electromagnetic fields, so they looked down upon the flying abilities of Earth's birds. The skeletal remains of ocean mammals like seals and whales were preserved. They were aquatic, with the seal's limbs evolving into fins and a massive chest cavity beneficial for storing oxygen for extended dives. However, according to the crystal race's theory, they were still considered lower animals, as their heads and torsos were not well degenerated and fused. Although the intelligent dolphin left no fossils, the primates on land had skeletal remains preserved in the layers, represented by the long-armed ape. The crystal race saw that this was an animal adept at leaping through tree canopies, with its forelimbs as the primary means of locomotion, and a noticeably increased brain capacity compared to other animals. Unfortunately, despite the pivotal position of primates in Earth's biology, the crystal race dismissed them outright. Lastly, human fossils were the most abundant excavated from the entire planet. Of course, the crystal race could not know that humans had transformed Earth into their home over thousands of years, their footsteps spreading to every corner, using their intelligence to create a brilliant civilization. But the crystal race still failed to recognize the true status of humans. Stubbornly and confidently, they bestowed the honor of Earth's ruler upon the parrot shell, based on their own standards. Thus, the parrot shell usurped the glory that belonged to humans. These were my contemplations. I imagined that even if another alien intelligent race surveyed Earth, the resulting species pyramid would look entirely different. How can we prove that our civilization once existed? However, we should not worry about this, for nothing can exist eternally. That dinosaur immersed in thought during the Cretaceous twilight, just before the asteroids sliced through the sky, perhaps understood this truth. In the distant future, humans will inevitably leave Earth's cradle and venture into the vast expanse of space-time, leaving behind white chains on the Earth that can silently attest to a once vibrant and magnificent world. This is enough, the glory of Earth facing the universe. I hope that ultimately humanity will prove worthy of it. Witnessing humanity's contemplation of eternity is a thought-provoking marathon for the soul. If you resonated with this, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to fuel our channel's journey. Stay tuned for the next captivating story.